Hey guys, it's John and Lau, just giving you a quick update from Brazil. Before we go on, I do need to share some stories we've heard out here on the road. The first is about the mother-in-law. So we met a pastor down in the south who takes care of a congregation of about 1,500 people. And he had an acquaintance who was a doctor. Some years ago, this doctor took his family down on holiday to the beach in the south. He took his wife, his kids, and his mother-in-law. Now, sadly, while they were at the beach, his mother-in-law had a heart attack and died. But because they were in a different state, they would have to repatriate the body back to the state of Goiás. And the doctor had an inside track of how bad Brazilian bureaucracy was with relation to repatriating bodies. So he decided that a better solution would be to wrap the mother-in-law's body up, put it in the trailer that they're driven down with, and begin to drive the sort of 15 to 20 hour trip back up to Goiás by himself instead. He left his wife and kids on their holiday still and began to drive up. And on the way, he decided to stop for some fuel and some food. And when he came out of the restaurant, he looked, and to his horror, someone had stolen the trailer with his mother-in-law still in it. And when I heard this, I just thought, my goodness, what must have gone through everyone's minds? There's the doctor who must think, how do I explain this to my wife? I'm sorry, honey, I lost your mum. Then there's the wife who must be thinking, why did you have to stop to get food? Why are you always eating? And then there's the people who stole the trailer, who must have opened it up and thought, oh my goodness, have we made a mistake? Now, there does seem to be quite a lot of death and accidents here. So when I've pointed out health and safety problems in these videos, it's because these can actually cause injury and death. Here are some more power lines hanging by my head. So this is a broken wire that is at head height on the pavement. Isn't that cool? Thankfully, someone's used some sellotape to keep them up. So accidents and death are a real part of the way of life here. In 1960, life expectancy was less than 55. In the year I was born, life expectancy was only around 62. Thankfully, today it's peaking at just over 75. But what this means is that you'll meet a lot of people, and many of them will have sad stories about how their parents died young, preventably, in accidents and from illness. Story number 2. The cowboys. So while we were on the farm a few weeks ago, one of our friends, Sylvia, who we were with, was speaking to the cowboys on the farm, and she was telling them about an argument that had been going down. And she said, it was like World War III. And they said, do you mean it was like a second World War? And she said, no, it was like a third World War, another one. And they said, yeah, you mean a second World War? The news about World War II had not reached the cowboys on the farm. They still thought there had only been one World War. And so she updated them about some of the recent events regarding World War II, and they now know. That's how slowly news travels in some of these rural communities. The standard of the hotels around in Brazil is often quite nice and high. They're clean, they're well kept, and they have great features. We've woken up this morning in a really special hotel in a place called Rio Verde. This is the view from out of the window. You can probably hear the music from the local church. But that's not the best feature about this hotel. This is the best feature about this hotel. They've got a really lovely thing that plays you whale song music in the bathroom. It's little touches like this when hotels go the extra mile musically, with features like this that really set them apart from the rest of the pack. While we've been here, we are obviously searching for a good cup of tea as well, and we find boxes of tea everywhere we go without any tea in them.
Oh look, tea!
So last time we said we were going to talk about the food here, and there's definitely the good, the bad, and the ugly all represented in Brazil. However, starting with the good, churrasco or Brazilian barbecue is a brilliant experience. Basically, they believe in taking a decent cut of meat, adding a lot of salt and fire, and this results in great flavor. Their favorite cuts are picanha, mamia, and copine, from what I can tell. 3 cuts that we don't really talk about in the UK. Picanha is the one that Brazilians will rave about the most. Don't say anything bad about it because they will get offended. It's maybe not as tasty as a great cut of ribeye, but it's comparable to a nice juicy sirloin. Copine is a very fatty piece of meat with a very high degree of marbling. If you remember the cows mated with camels that produce that hump that I spoke about last time, copine is the hump of the cow. When you throw these meats onto a barbecue, it does result in great flavor. You can taste the fire, you can taste the meat. It's just marvelous. Obviously, they serve that up with beans and rice, or occasionally with rice and beans. It's a great time all around.
Another thing they have here is acai, and it's a superfruit from the Amazon. They make this into like some sort of sorbet, and it's super tasty. You can have different toppings on it, and everyone is absolutely obsessed with it. You can have banana, condensed milk, baby milk, strawberries, granola on it, and it's really great. I really love it.
Acai is great for adults, but for children, they go mad for it. So we made a little video with some children explaining what they love about acai so much. So we have to open up a little bracket here and talk about something called leche niño, which is baby milk powder. The first time I saw this being put onto acai, I thought it was an abomination and completely wrong. The problem is, it's delicious and amazing, and they put it with other things as well. You can buy leche niño yogurts in the supermarkets. People buy whole tubs of it who don't have babies just to put on their food. It's not maybe morally right, but it is gastronomically.
The fruits in Brazil are absolutely amazing. The flavors are delicious. The size of them, you can buy an avocado the size of your head if you're into avocados. Passion fruit is absolutely delicious. It's my favorite one here, I think, so far. It's huge, and you can get a lot of juice out of a passion fruit. You can also find lots of fruit vendors on the streets, and it's always so fresh and delicious.
So what do you think about the pizza here?
I don't like the pizza.
Pizza here is very different to other parts of the world that we've visited. They take a normal pizza, add strange ingredients, and then, not content with whatever is already on it, they add as much cheese as the base can possibly support onto the top. So what you essentially have is maybe more like a flan. Obviously, I like the pizza because I love pizza. However, we did have some interesting experiences when we were down south.
Chocolate pizza.
No, I'm eating the whole one. But I'm just getting. Is this the first time?
Well, the good news is that the fact that it tastes so much like chocolate completely overpowers all of the other weird elements of that pizza. I had to show you something to develop the theme of the unholy chocolate coverings on pizza that we were discussing earlier. So this pizza here has meat. It's got like ham, salami, cheese, of course. But if you look at the crust, it's filled with chocolate. It's still flipping chocolate. I don't know what's wrong with the pizzerias in this country. By far the worst part about this meat and chocolate pizza is the fact that it actually works. That's the worst thing.
So we recently moved out from the big condominium that we were staying in and have moved into the apartment that we're going to be staying at whilst we're here in Brazil.
When we were first given the key to apartment 108, it looked a little bit different to how it had originally been described. We found somebody else's underwear in the washing machine along with a load of other clothes. We found a lot of other people's belongings there, like a TV, toys, the odd dead body in the bedroom. It then turned out we'd actually been given the key to the wrong apartment, and we were in somebody else's apartment. So we are now out of there, happily installed in the correct apartment, 105, and feeling a lot better about life.
It was sort of like a laugh-cry situation because we actually thought that was where we were going to be staying. So we were crying because it was awful and it was okay, fine, we're going to have to stay here. And then we were laughing because we realised it was the wrong apartment, thank goodness.
Like every house in South America, apparently, we have security fencing and gates all around. Our apartment actually has a 24-hour guard who has to buzz you in and out and keeps everybody safe.
We call him Vigilante.
We call him Dave.
No,
A short time ago, we were in an area of the city looking at a marketplace for some future activities. While we were there, we realized we were quite close to one of the local churches, led by a man called Ricardo Henrique. The church is Igreja Videira in Recanto do Bosque. And when we arrived, there were hundreds of children in the building at night. They all had a little bag packed and they were streaming onto these coaches. They all looked so excited to be there. We asked the pastor what was going on, and he explained that they were having a children's weekend away. For most of these children, this will be the first or only weekend they've ever been away on. They're from very deprived areas. The church there is doing an amazing work with them. I asked Pastor Ricardo if he could give me a short interview to explain some of what was going on there. And so I just shot the video, but I didn't really know what he was saying because it was quite fast. My Portuguese at that point was a little simpler than it is now. But I sat down a couple of days ago to translate what he was saying, and as I was writing out his words, it just brought me to tears. So here's a little bit of that interview.
Uma das características mais fortes na vida dessas crianças é que elas geralmente são crianças marginalizadas, crianças muitas vezes que são fruto de pais divorciados, são crianças que não têm acesso a uma educação de qualidade, são crianças muitas vezes analfabetas, que são tardias a começar a estudar, são crianças muitas vezes feridas de alma, abusadas sexualmente, crianças que estão de fato interiormente destruídas. E através das nossas células, através da palavra de Deus, através desse trabalho intenso que é feito ali, através das líderes de crianças, essas crianças têm conhecido o amor de Deus, elas têm conhecido algo que traz esperança para uma vida totalmente diferente, e através dessa experiência elas têm então compartilhado com seus pais, e isso tem produzido um impacto sobrenatural na nossa região.